This is Winging It, the somewhat whimsical, certainly whirring, decidedly wonky, seldom weighty, endlessly well-intentioned, and wildly witty show about music where one knows what's coming and the other doesn't. And this extravaganza happens, which... Yeah, you'll see how funny that is in a moment. This extravaganza happens in between both proper to ensure you can spend anywhere from 15 to 180 minutes with us every week. It's usually under half an hour, so extravaganza might be an exaggeration.
Just slight.
Just a slight.
Not a lot.
But, I was looking for the introduction to Winging It because, as you know, I seldom ever do it. But
that's true.
First thing, I thought, Christina works so hard, I swear it's ridiculous. I feel so ashamed sometimes that, I just got to throw the kid a bone here sometimes and take on the show.
Not nearly enough. You need to feel bad more often.
And so for those of you AC/DC people who, for some reason, have not stopped listening to us because we bag on them, although I love them. And don't be singing "Giving the Dog a Bone" in your head because I don't think this is what they had in mind when they wrote that song. Yeah, I don't think it's about giving Christina a break. I think it's about. But anyway, I did come across a funny note, and I'll be saying this next time because. Here it is. Well, because I'm going to do Winging It tonight. That's what I was getting at. Lacking any imagination or ability to think on my feet, I'm just going to read this. I decided I'd throw the kid a bone, give the kid a break, do a show, and she's going to do a couple of them tonight. So still the workload is disproportionately spread in her direction, as usual. Well, I'm happy to report that order has been restored to the universe. Christina is back doing all the pain-in-the-ass stuff that she usually does, like driving and preparing Winging It and all that. Well, this time she did still do all that. She drove, all the pain-in-the-ass stuff. She did 2 Winging It's, but I lifted a finger and did a tiny bit of a modicum of work in getting one ready myself because I saw a subject that was very interesting, and I thought, now that's a good one to pick everyone's brain about. And what is it you say? Well, I'm going to tell you. I came across a list, as we often do, that prompts us to do Winging It.
Indeed.
And this one was best bands to ever play live. Now, we love concerts. We love live music. We've been to lots of them. Christina's been to an incredible number of them for somebody so young. So I came across a list of the top live bands of all time from The Delight, DELITE.com. Never heard of them before, but it's a good one. Thank you, thedelight.com, for coming up with this. So we're going to see how many of these each of us has seen, and if we thought they really warranted being on this list. And, of course, in our omniscience, you're going to get our opinions about who should maybe have also been on the list who wasn't.
Indeed.
But let's see who they are.
It's a good one.
It is. It's a good topic.
It is.
And let's see. I believe I've seen 10 of these bands out of these 29. So
Holy
we'll see how many.
shit.
All right, number 29. I don't know if the order is supposed to be in a meritocracy or what, but
it must.
Anyway, 29. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Not seen them.
Not seen them either. I'm sure they were quite good. I wouldn't think it would be one of those things.
Yeah, I think it would probably be quality. It'd be interesting. I don't think you're going to get like a light show or anything.
No, and I don't think. And you don't have to have all of that necessarily. But I just don't think the music is. It's great stuff, but I just don't think, I don't know, who knows what it's like live, but it isn't the spectacle, the kind of thing we're going to hear possibly even with the next, number 28, Prince. That's another story altogether.
Oh, God, I wish I would have seen him live.
That is another, I never did either, no? But now that would be something to see. I'm quite sure, and well, we saw enough in the movies and on various videos to know that Prince is a dynamo.
I'm sure it was hot.
Yeah.
Because he's a very sexy gentleman, and he oozes sex wherever he goes, even though he wasn't particularly attractive to me. He still had that sexy thing. So it has to be a super sexy show, and the music is sexy. So I don't know what he would have done. Or some of the shows later were very intimate. It was just, piano, vocals, and the audience, which would have been amazing.
The greatest musician on every instrument. It's ridiculous.
I mean, he's, virtuoso for sure. So, damn, I didn't see that one either.
Well, let's just say I didn't perceive him in the sexy way that you're talking about.
Oh,
However,
sure. He's
just one of those slick badasses who's just a powerhouse, and he's electric. Everything he does, he's on fire. He is a live wire performing. I mean, when he sings "Baby, I'm a Star," you believe him. You totally, he's right. He was a star from day one.
Yeah.
And when somebody comes out out of the gate and says he wasn't new or anything, but then there are people who will come out and they say, "We're a badass," and he's just that kind of guy. He had that swagger, and sex appeal if you're into that kind of thing.
I was into it.
But he's he's a smooth dude and an awesome musician and just a ball of fire. Love him. Number 27, I definitely have never seen, although I could have. I'm old enough. Elvis Presley.
Certainly not.
Certainly not, right? I love to see the footage of him live. He is great.
Comeback was amazing.
Comeback was amazing. I mean, has something with the audience that's very rare.
Agreed.
And he's just a great, interpreter of music.
Talk about swagger.
Talk about swagger and talk about the incredible vocal prowess. I mean, he was just brilliant.
And he was very, very handsome.
Yeah, and it really does have. He's very handsome, very showy. I mean, he was there. He was like Neil Diamond. He was there to look like, I am doing a show. You didn't accidentally bump into me on the street. I'm doing a show. I'm going to dress up.
Elvis didn't have the cheese factor that Neil Diamond has to me. Neil Diamond is cheese.
Let's not go there. And
I'll go there.
Who knows if he might pop up on the list? After the Elvis, of course, who we both agree would have been wonderful.
Yes.
Deep Purple.
I
26. Deep Purple. Didn't see Deep Purple, but I certainly would have liked to.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, we've seen the footage. We've heard the live albums. Deep Purple is friggin' awesome. And, yeah, I would have to think they were really something else.
They had to be great.
Had to be something else to see.
Yeah.
All right, 25. Not hard-hitting in the Deep Purple way, but the Eagles.
I have seen the Eagles.
That's true. Hell freezes over, right?
That's right. It was, but it wasn't. There was no major spectacle. It's just a bunch of legends, whether you believe they are legendary or not, sitting on stools doing what they do best. Those beautiful harmonies. There was no big show, but what it was years and years of music right there in front of you, with everybody back.
Yeah, I think that possibly the X factor here would be, not to confuse it with any kind of lame-ass TV show, but I think the secret sauce here would be how much different is it from listening to the record? I mean, if you're going to see him play live, somebody commented on the Eagles live saying that it sounds just like the record. It's like, he said, what, you think that's easy?
It didn't sound just like the record, and they... of course, told stories and laughed.
Yeah, and I mean, it's great to see them.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it was...
I think they're looking for something different than the Eagles.
I could have been okay not seeing them live. I would have been okay. They were free tickets, box seats. So,
every time I tell her, you suck, you don't like the Eagles, she goes, hey, I saw the tour.
Yeah, so shush.
I didn't know they were gifts. Okay, that takes it back.
No, hey, I could have said no.
That's true. You went, I mean... She actually condescended to watch the Eagles for free. Okay.
Hey, I thought it was good. I knew most of the songs, even the country ones. I kind of held my nose, but I hung in there.
Yeah. Again, not different enough. I mean, just it's nice to see them, but is it really that much different?
No.
Things you have to perceive visually.
No.
And Foo Fighters, 24. I wouldn't know. I've seen them on stage on some clips with other people.
I've only seen like the online concert footage, and it's just energy. That's the thing. Is just crazy raw energy and talent, and the music and the audience participation. I mean, it's a rock ass show.
Yeah, I've come around to the Foo Fighters thing. I still don't know a lot of their stuff, but I come to recognize that they actually are good. A good hard rock group like Nirvana. I mean, I don't care if they're just a bunch of slackers in sweaters and shit. They still were a powerhouse. I mean, they were electrifying, I think.
Yeah.
But here's a band that I've actually seen live because, wait for this, you can't make this stuff up. I got it free, exactly. I was living in Cincinnati. There was a radio station. There was a series of concerts, and the radio station went on the air and said, they listed 3 of them. They said, which one didn't we mention? And I knew what it was. They said, it's this band, this band, this band. Which one did we leave out? It was freaking Spinal Tap. Because I was going.
That would be amazing.
That was the same place I saw Paula Abdul and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. But I saw a Spinal Tap, and I said, well, the missing one is Spinal Tap. And that got me tickets to the Allman Brothers. Back in the day, Greg Allman, Dickie Betts, I mean, everybody,
Wow. Yeah, I've never seen that.
Trucks, everybody. And they were... I tell you, they really rock hard. A lot of beautiful guitar work with them.
Did you have to see them live, or could you have been okay with the album?
I would have been okay with the album, actually.
Yeah,
it was nice to see.
It's kind of like the Hell Freezes Over thing.
There were these, shroom-eating hippies dancing around barefoot, not paying attention to the group. But it's like, these guys are good. Why don't you watch it? So, but it was one of those summer grass things,
These are best concerts live so far? Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see.
The bottom of the
when
list.
We get up
yeah,
higher,
we're going to get some much more electrifying stuff. In fact, very soon with number 22, with a little ensemble from the 60s called the Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Oh, my. Okay.
They were hot. I mean, they were. I mean, everybody was.
I did
playing.
not see them.
Oh no, I didn't see them either. I could have. I was 10, I think, so I could have maybe, but I didn't see them either. But you know, honestly, it's not always that great. He goes a little far afield sometimes, but he was like nobody else who had performed with guitar before.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have seen that.
He was hypnotic to watch, and the band is insane. Redding and those guys are nuts too. So that would have been amazing to see live, I think. Never had the privilege. However, next on the list, somebody I know you have not seen and somebody I know I have 4 times, Alice Cooper, 21. I think most people agree, whether you like Alice Cooper's music or not, that as far as a show, this is something to see, you know. And I've been to 3 Alice Cooper concerts and Hollywood Vampires, which is also Alice Cooper, and definitely deserves to be on the list, I would say.
This far down on the list?
No, but on it.
He's in the cheap seats right now.
He is kind of. And what do you see who's not far away in the cheap seats? Another icon from the very same era. So you have not. So you got nothing to say, I suppose, because you haven't seen him.
I got nothing to say, although
just a couple of clips I've tormented you with.
And it looks interesting. Again, whether or not I need to see him live, I probably don't need to see him live. I could probably just enjoy the music. Although the clips you've sent me do look, interesting and kind of over the top and maybe a little bit of the C word, but I'm okay with it. Not classic.
What's wrong with some cheese? Come on. All right, at number 20, I think we're going to hear an audible groan from the future, from the listeners, when I mention the name of the Grateful Dead.
Ugh.
Now, live, honestly, is the Grateful Dead anything special? Well,
never saw them, by the way.
Nobody ever watched them without fistfuls of shrooms, probably live. So maybe they're great in that case, but that means you're not great. I don't get this at all.
I don't get the Grateful Dead thing, and I've seen some concert footage on accident at friends' houses, and I get it even less. But I don't care for their music, so maybe that's the problem.
I do a little bit, but nothing like they're made out to be.
I got nothing.
Absolutely not. Next on the list, oh man, here's somebody that doesn't matter which end of the performance spectrum, elaborate and theatrical or bare bones, always sets the stage on fire. Mr. David Bowie is number 19.
Never saw him.
Never saw him.
Great regret.
Yeah, I saw him on the the Isolar 2 tour, I think they called it. Heroes, basically. Heroes, so all the stuff before Heroes, And it was basically the same concert you'll hear on the live album stage. It was incredible, just incredible. The barest, most stripped-down show ever. If anything, there should have been, just like listening to the record, it would be this. But with Bowie, it's not. All he has to do is move. All he has to do is just be there and exude and make his faces and do his things. I mean, he's absolutely mesmerizing.
Talk about sexy. That man just was wow.
Well,
next
I don't
level.
find him sexy, but he's beautiful. And
he is beautiful and next level sexy.
And he's a genius, Renaissance man, just consummate creator of all arts, composers.
Did I mention he was sexy?
I think you might have said it once or twice.
And his voice is ridiculously sexy and very, very different from a lot of voices that you hear. And I appreciate that about him. But the beautiful thing also, none of that hurts. And he had the style icon, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, such a composer and an instrumentalist. I mean, there are people who have all kinds of charisma and style and can sing their ass off and sing ballads and sing rockers and everything, just like Bowie, just like Elvis. But Elvis had virtually nothing to do with the creation of his music,
right.
As great as he was at presenting it.
Right.
But Bowie is pretty much everything.
Come on, he was the whole package.
He was the whole package, and I did have the privilege of seeing him, and it's not an experience I would trade. So,
no, of course not. Wow.
Now, here's a group I definitely didn't see, and I'm pretty darn sure you didn't. The Beatles.
That would be amazing. No, I cannot brag and say I've seen the Beatles.
I wouldn't want to be there if the Screaming Girls were there. That ruin every single Beatles concert video that you'll ever see. That's the thing I like about the BBC record. There's no audience, or very little. You don't hear much of anything. But every time I watch those videos and I hear the shrieking girls.
That's a band I think I can just listen to. I don't need to see them.
Right, because they're not. Although I do want to see them, not on stage, like the rooftop concert.
The Get Back was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
now that's where you see that personality and stuff come out, which is what I like. But when they were new, and they were just doing those, they were just going through the motions. There was no personality really coming out. A little bit of Paul and a little bit of John, but.
Yeah, if they didn't do the interviews where with the
right.
the camaraderie and the wit and everything,
right.
There's sparkling personalities, all four of them, and the movies and everything. They endeared themselves so much to the audience. But live, they were energetic. They were really, but it wasn't anything you had to see, like some of the groups here.
Yeah,
no,
agreed.
The next group I've never seen. Don't think I would even want to, unless they got a new singer, and that might give you a hint as to who I'm talking about. No, that's probably a lot of groups that I didn't.
Yeah, you hate everybody.
If you took Mr. Eddie Vedder out, maybe I'd want to watch Pearl Jam, but that's the group number 17, Pearl Jam.
Yeah, I've never seen them live. I would love to see them live. I think the problem for me is there was one album that I liked, and I haven't liked any other one. 10 is the only album I've liked, so unless they're doing 10 about 25 years ago, I'm pretty much out. But 10, 25 years ago or whatever, I would have been down watching.
Well, you might get your chance yet, because that's kind of a thing with bands, these many years, is to do a whole album live. And that's pretty cool when they do that. The Stones did Sticky Fingers, Heart did Dreamboat Annie. Something really weird I heard about recently, somebody is playing a whole album live, but it's somebody else's album. Now, that's pretty strange. Did you hear about that?
No.
Primus. Now, there's a group I know nothing about.
I love Primus.
See, Primus. Okay, that's that Les Claypool.
They're badass.
Yeah. I've heard a little bit here. It sounded okay. I could do without that Big Brown Beaver thing. But apart from that...
you like parody. You like satire. How do you not like Winona's Big Brown Beaver?
I don't know.
The hell is wrong with you?
I don't know. But
double standard. You
know what they're doing? They're doing a whole album, but as I said, not theirs. They're doing Rush's Farewell to Kings.
Oh, I can see that.
That's
a huge influence for them.
I guess so, but that's such a fascinating thing to do.
If you listen to them more and you hear their bass work and stuff, you're going to hear the influence of Rush in their work.
Well, that's the only thing I can retain about that group is Les Claypool on bass.
I mean,
and everybody thinks he's great.
Everybody thinks he's great, or he's just fucking
great?
No
doubt, because he is.
Because he's fucking great.
I'm just saying, I'm not speaking from personal experience.
Yeah, so I think Pearl Jam, the problem now is even if they come back and they do it now, I don't think Eddie Vedder sings with the same intensity, innocence, abandon that he did then, which is what I like. Whatever this is now, I'm not into. But with 10, while he has a little bit of that in his voice... I hear the I don't know, I guess I kind of hear that reckless abandon that I like. So unless he can recapture that, I do like Pearl Jam. I can't get into them after 10, but I would like to have seen them back in 92.
I figured as much. I mean, we're talking, what's that, the Singles movie, that whole era.
I think that's 92, 90, yeah, something like that.
Well, here's an group, as in standing in for the entire word and. So who is it? Kid and Play? No, I don't think so. It would be.
I hope not.
I hope not. It would be Guns N' Roses. There was a time, folks.
Grade A Muppet voice. I like him, but grade A Muppet.
But I mean, the kind of energy you see in like the Paradise City video and things like that, it would have been good to see them at one point. I had tickets, but I think Gilby Clarke broke his arm or something like that. Some Izzy Stradlin or whoever was playing rhythm at the time. So I didn't get to see them, but they look like they would be promising. That could be.
Yeah, I'm pretty good just listening to them on their CD. I don't think so.
And I think you will not be able to say that about number 15, which would be the boys from Kiss. Now I have seen Kiss.
I just don't say anything about the boys.
Yeah. I have seen Kiss, and it was great. Some of the stuff they do live, I've outgrown, let's say, but. They are fun to see, and
But couldn't you just listen to the album and be okay?
Well, that's what we did for most of the time, but I think...
How many times have you seen them?
Oh, just once. Just
once.
I saw them once, I saw Ace solo once.
I think if I got the tickets free, I'd give them to you, so I wouldn't go anyway.
There you go.
But look, you get them. You get free tickets. Look at that.
Free ticket, just like, and probably be better than the Allman Brothers.
And probably better. Well, no, not better. Probably not better than Hell Freezes Over.
Further up on the list, at least.
Yes.
Well, who comes up ahead of Kiss? It would be...
everybody else.
The Doors. Now,
shit.
I have not seen The Doors either.
What I wouldn't have given to see that.
I would have loved to have seen The Doors when they were really on. Because I heard there was some, performance stuff and everything. But when they were really on, like that Hollywood Bowl concert that I went to the frigging movie theaters to watch, I would love to have seen that.
I think I would have seen them at any time. Just to to hear Jim do that live and to see him in whatever state he was in, whether he was in a crazy manic state, he was acting a fool, just to kind of get his energy and to hear that voice and to see Ray do that, where he's like his face almost face down in the organ, to do that. I think I would have liked to have seen them. Of course, I never did. I'm too young.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I could have, but I wasn't going to concerts just yet. But what about another band? Actually, I've seen two of the upcoming bands live together, and this is the first one. Somebody near and dear to a regular listener, namely Rush.
Ah.
How many times have you seen Rush? 6, 7?
I have not seen them at all.
How many times has Bruce seen them?
Probably more than 6 times. But
wow.
he saw the last tour they ever did twice, which is pretty amazing. And from what I understand, they're completely and totally crazily electric, and they do have stuff going on stage. They are very animated. Specifically, you want to watch the masters at work, like Geddy Lee, where he is manipulating the pedal. You wanted to see Neil Peart do what he did. You wanted to see Alex Lifeson. You wanted to watch these masters do what they did, because it's not easy. Not everyone can do what they did. So
no, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was thinking that when you see Geddy Lee doing that, you go, wow, nobody could ever do that. And then along comes Bruce, and you go, okay, there is one other guy.
Yeah, at least one more.
Okay,
that's right.
One more.
So he does the Geddy Lee thing. That's what everyone says. Yeah. Yes. So I never saw them. I could have gone with him to see them, but what we did was instead we put the money toward him getting a better ticket. And that was what was better.
Well, yeah, I would happily sacrifice that. I mean, especially if it's a group. It means much more to you.
That's
you go.
His band,
his
so
band.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Sometimes you do got to break a piggy bank. I bought myself a better concert ticket recently than I ever have before.
You actually didn't break the piggy bank. That's the going rate, but it's a lot. It's a lot now. It's kind of like what $50 was like 15 years ago.
That's more than I ever paid.
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I paid $50 to see the Who. Okay.
A little too much.
Yeah. I set that up for you. Well, Rush. Okay, I did happen to see the boys in Rush early on. I don't remember anything going. Well, I mean, all they got to do is be there doing their thing. This was the Farewell to Kings tour, now being undertaken by Primus.
It's going to be good. I think it's going to be good.
I'm intrigued now, because I applaud them for trying.
No,
but
you're going to want to watch it.
That was amazing. And that was at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie, New York. So Rush, Farewell to Kings tour, and the opening act, a little ensemble who might still be around, called AC/DC. But that was, they were amazing. They blew us away, because that's who we went to see. We knew the records, and they just fried our socks.
Nice, of course.
And the very first band I ever saw live, Aerosmith.
Never seen them.
And I saw them.
Have I seen anybody on here?
I think there are some coming up. Yeah, there are some coming up. I saw them live first because they were opening for Black Sabbath, not because I went to see them. I did that the following year when they were headlining. But, so there I am. First big rock show, and out comes Aerosmith. And is it just like listening to the record? Not really. I think they're pretty, I think they're pretty visual. I think they're pretty animated, but it isn't something you have to see, but they're very good. I have seen them, by the way, 4 times. And I saw them at one of those arena things with Journey and
with
Aerosmith.
Steve Perry?
In the 70s.
Because then it doesn't matter. If it's not with Steve, then I don't give a shit.
No, Journey, back in the day, the 70s. Who's next up on the list? Bruce, are you listening? Iron Maiden.
Oh.
Has he ever seen them?
I don't know about that one.
No?
I don't think so. He might kick my ass if I don't know that, but I don't think so.
I never have. Well, I know he at least fancies them.
He loves them, yeah. He thinks they're great.
I never have. I barely kind of discovered them, really. They kind of slid past me.
Yeah, I certainly haven't seen them live. I mean, I think I'll take a pass, though. I'm good. I'm sure they're fine. Okay,
let's see what you think. Let's see how blasé you are about number 10, U2.
Oh, shit.
Would you like to add something to that?
I might like to, since I've seen them about 8 times.
Is that all? Yeah.
That's it. And I've seen them on so many tours. I would say they've ranged everything from, you probably don't need to go see them live if you don't, I'd say you actually should go see them live in all of their iterations. Everything from, just their sheer energy, the punk rock energy of their early stuff, the pithy, very, very introspective stuff that you heard, obviously in Joshua Tree. Then you went into all the stuff like Zoo TV. And
I was going to mention that. That seems like one to see.
Well, all of them are something to see. But you're right. The visual part of it, the show, the circus was there for those
right.
shows. But even when we got back to, some of the more recent shows where they performed in the Heart, there wasn't as much antics going on. But when we saw the anniversary tour of Joshua Tree, that's when you just saw all of the stuff going on behind them, like, the flashbacks of the old videos and all that kind of stuff, which was really cool. Certainly in their day, I don't know if their day is still here. I think U2 is unfortunately there's a lot going on. In their day, they were certainly something to see, and if you never saw them, that's unfortunate for you. But they are certainly amazing live. Probably 10 years ago, really amazing.
We dinosaurs love it when bands that have been around forever, like us, show videos on the screen of the old days. We just love that shit.
Yeah, so we're seeing stuff from Joshua Tree, which is what we're celebrating, and Joshua Tree's just, decades ago. So it was kind of cool to be like, oh, yeah, and, kind of go through those motions. But unfortunately, it's just, an aging voice. It continues to age, So Bono was trying his best, but those are some really tough songs. They still have the energy. They still have the heart. They still bring it. So maybe with their newer stuff, I'd go listen, but the throwback to Joshua Tree was a tough one, I could tell, vocally for Bono.
A lot of the singers, because voices deepen as they age, that just happens. Mm-hmm. A lot of the singers have come up with very interesting, very creative ways or alternate arrangements to sing songs that they simply can't sing like they did on the records.
You can't do that with songs that you're specifically going to hear. You're specifically going to hear Joshua Tree, 40th anniversary. You can't fuck it up because
did they play the whole album? Is that
yes,
what? Yeah.
We know every word, every nuance, every phrase. We know everything. That's why we paid way too much money to go see it. So you can't jazz that shit up because I'm going to be fucking pissed.
Well, I don't know. They find ways.
He didn't find a way.
He didn't find a way. He just tried to do it and didn't.
He tried to do it and it was not good.
Wow. Okay.
The band sounded good, of course, but Bono was struggling. He tried. He tried really hard. We sang for him. He let us sing a lot. I get it, but...
We saw that being done even when singers were young. Robert Plant in the 70s was already doing that.
Well,
he would go on stage and sing deeper and sometimes much more appealing vocal on certain songs that he did on the, even though he was the same age he was when he made the records.
Yeah, so, I think you probably heard his voice. So he wasn't singing from his diagram. I can tell you, David, he was screaming.
There's that elusive concept I never understood.
I had to learn.
I should probably speak from my diaphragm because if I we just went out to dinner as we always do before the show. If I talk for 10 or 15 minutes, I start to croak and it's terrible. No. I should probably not speak from my. I should probably speak from my diaphragm.
Well, yeah, it's something you can learn.
If I understood the concept,
I'll work to teach you. But yes,
but
so,
I
but you two definitely something you should have seen and heard.
All right. Number 9, seems they're kind of wasting our time here. Jimi Hendrix, didn't we do him already?
I thought we already
didn't we do him? Okay, let's skip on ahead to one I never really got, although people swear by. Number 8, Bruce Springsteen. Now, we keep hearing about these high-energy, off-the-chart 3.5-hour concerts, but I don't
If
think
you
I
like
would,
Bruce Springsteen, I guess that's fine, but I don't.
I really can't handle the thought
it.
of Bruce Springsteen for 3.5 hours.
Well, and I like Billy Joel. I don't want to sit and listen to him for 3.5 hours either. And I love Billy Joel.
I attended one concert in my life that was 3.5 hours long. 3 hours and 45 minutes. But it was Led Zeppelin.
You too.
So I didn't
over
mind.
3 hours.
See,
and it was amazing.
Some guys just do that.
Yeah.
So Springsteen...
I got no love for Springsteen. I wish I did.
This has been a widespread view since the 70s.
Yes.
And I've never quite gotten it.
Tons of people love him. I'm not saying that he's not lovable. I just don't. And I know he's a great storyteller. And if he was to... I think it's an HBO special. I did watch it. It was great.
Really?
Where he's talking about his life. If he would just continue to talk about his life and not have music, I'd be down.
Oh, there wasn't a concert.
It's the music thing that really doesn't do it for me. But people love Bruce Springsteen. I don't want to hear him on vinyl or anything, and I don't need to see him live.
Speaking of concerts on television, Metallica just did a pair of 40th anniversary concerts to honor their 40 years in the music business.
But we didn't see them live. I've not seen
them. No, we
live.
didn't see them live, but it was very, very well shot, and it was actually played live. And they played songs from all the albums, and for 2 different nights. So we're talking like 4.5 hours spread over 2 nights, and they were absolutely incredible. The energy is beyond belief. I don't know how the hell Lars Ulrich can still play like that. There are a lot of drummers who are really, really, really hot in their day who simply can't play their own songs anymore. I mean, and carry the band by themselves, unfortunately. And I understand that, but Lars Ulrich does, you know.
Yeah, they're one of those bands I want to see live. I definitely want to make it a point to see them live. I always wanted to, but whenever I go to do it, the tickets are already sold out. So I'm going to have to really try and make a concerted effort next time they're playing, because I've always loved Metallica since I was in like middle school. So yeah, I'd love to see them live, but never have.
Yeah, the televised thing was as close as I've gotten so far. I have not seen them either, but it was incredible, and they are in 40 years. Now, they're getting a little silly when they all say at the end, you know, we'll be here for another 40 years. Dude, you're going to be 100 in 40 years. You're not going to be playing Whiplash when you're 100, okay? But for 40 years they have killed it, and they still do. What about number 6, a very popular live band that always sells out the big arenas every time they go on the road, the Rolling Stones. Never seen the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, I think I could probably be just good with the album.
I have really good live Rolling Stones concert videos, and seeing all the angles and seeing the editing and everything, I mean, it's very exciting. I don't think I would go to, you know, a sports stadium and watch them from, you know, 300 yards away. I mean, I would, but I wouldn't pay a ton of money for it the way you have to.
Yeah, so, I don't think I could see him purse his lips in videos. I don't need to see him do that live. I'm good. I was
considering it this year before Charlie Watts died, and I thought, you know what, maybe that's the X factor, that maybe that's the tiebreaker there that I won't go because they won't have Charlie. But these guys obviously still love what they do. They got tons of money. They do it. You can see how much fun they're having doing it. And that really makes it such a joyous experience that I would like to see them. But I don't know if it's they deserve to be on the list this high up.
I agree. Well, I don't know if they deserve to be on the list at all. I get the energy thing, but I don't know. I feel like they're kind of... If you're going to watch like a show and you're like, oh, that guy's a great showman, I do think that he's a great showman, but we've seen him do it in every video, every live concert footage. I don't need to go see him go. You know,
yeah,
and I was doing I was gesturing.
Yeah, she was doing the Jagger.
Yeah, and the duck lips and everything.
God, don't strike me dead, God, for saying moves like Jagger, but that's what she was doing.
That's kind of what I was doing.
Yeah. Because I hate to invoke Maroon 5, except in utter derision and scorn. I heard them again today. No, it wasn't them. It was somebody with Adam Levine, and it sucked, of course. Now, another band that certainly doesn't lack in energy, but is questionable as far as gotta see, AC/DC.
I'm out.
Yeah, she was thumbs down on AC/DC.
I don't need to see them
now,
live, and I don't need to hear them.
I did see them opening for Rush, and as I mentioned before, they were great. They impressed me. But they're not the be-all and end-all of seeing them live, I don't think. And I know we're going to get another raspberry from you with number 4, The Who.
Ay.
Now, The Who have gone through various phases in there as far as a live band.
Didn't you guys go to see like how much destruction Keith Moon would do? There's no more Keith Moon. Now what?
Well, I mean, you go to
hear Muppet? I don't understand.
Well, you either get a big production with an orchestra or you get just the band at different times. But there, of course, the animation, I mean, Pete Townsend can't do what he used to do on stage. None of them can, but they still make such a solid sound. Is it something you got to see? No, not really. And I did. I saw them recently, and I loved it. But is it one of those unforgettable live experiences like somebody else who might be on the list shortly? But not exactly next, because I never saw number 3, which was Pink Floyd.
Oh, gosh. Now that's one I would have wanted to see live.
Yep. We were trying to, we had this plan to go get a hotel and stay down in Connecticut and go to the fucking Wall concert, but somehow it did not pan out. So I did not ever see Pink Floyd, but that would be something. I mean, to see David Gilmour, I mean, Nick Mason, Richard Wright, these guys are great, Roger Waters, but Gilmour, come on. Gilmour is such a goat.
But to see what Waters had envisioned, to see the whole thing put together, to see the concept album thing, we just talked about it, to see it come to life like that, I think I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah, to hear Waters, I mean, as far as a vocalist, I don't think either of us are in love with Waters. No. But as far as a songwriter, you can't deny him.
I can deny him a lot of things.
Gilmore I give more to, of course. But
Waters is talented and he's a visionary, but he's batshit crazy.
There is that. Now, number 2, who could possibly be over Pink Floyd? You might have been thinking to yourself, well, what about Led Zeppelin? Well, yes, Led Zeppelin. Number 2.
Never saw them. Would love to have seen them. Although I'm sure it was probably at times a sloppy-ass mess. But I still would have liked to have seen it. Yeah,
there's footage out there where it's pretty sloppy.
Yeah.
But great, great anyway. I mean, really, the song remains the same. Concert video, you can't beat that.
It remains sloppy.
Yeah,
no. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
They were
fire.
Fire. They were actually as tight by Zeppelin standards. But likewise, the 2007 reunion concert in the O2 Arena, captured on the film Celebration Day. They were excellent, absolutely great. In 2007, so they
did you see them live?
I saw them in 1977. I did see Led Zeppelin live. I did not mention that.
No, you didn't. I mean, I knew you did, but I was like, hey, this is the moment.
Well, I did mention the 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Right.
But, yes, here I didn't mention. I mentioned it when it was irrelevant.
Correct.
And not now, which is kind of what I do.
Relevance equals the moment. Let's go ahead and solidify it. There it is.
But I did it.
Yeah, you did it.
It's irrelevant. Why do it now when it's relevant? I did
confusing.
see them, and it was in 77. So it was the Presence tour. So all the albums from Presence back, they did. I'm not going to tell you what Christina just said. It had to do with her age, though. Say she probably wouldn't have been going to a big city venue like that. I don't know how it was exactly that I was being turned loose in the big city in Madison Square Garden at the ages I was going to these concerts. But thank heaven.
I'm glad you were.
Yes, thank heavens for that. Won the lotto. There was a mail lottery to get tickets to see Zeppelin in 77. And I came home from school one day, and there they were. It's like, son of a gun. So, yeah, that was, it's hard to explain. Well, yeah, I guess they put on a show with the lasers and all that shit. But it's hard to explain what makes them so dynamic and so you must see, because the versions you get of the songs are nothing like you expect. You have no idea where they're going to take them. The songs are often very enhanced and extended and embellished and all this stuff. So they are not to be missed live, or would not have been. Of course, they could still play. They're all still around, at least.
Robert Plant said it's never happening.
Yeah, Robert Plant, I know.
Once there's that death, it's over for him. It was over.
Yeah, it was so... Yeah, they're not going to do... I mean, the one concert we got and the CD and the DVD set is priceless.
He's
Glad
made
we
it
got
clear
that.
It's never happening again.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And would they be as great as they were then?
There's
Who
no
knows?
way. No.
I mean, that was like, as one critic described as just like the greatest victory lap or they took their victory lap, one of the greatest one-off reunion concerts ever. Let's just be happy with that. Mm-hmm. People are still, every time you go to Robert Plant's feast, they're badgering him, hey, why don't you get back together and tour? No, he's into bluegrass now.
He's amazing at it. He and Alison Krauss. If you haven't listened to that, you need to do it. Do yourself a favor.
I swear, I only recently discovered them.
Oh my God, I told you about them though.
Yeah, they were around for a long time,
amazing.
and I really gave them because they got a new record out.
Yeah, I know.
I gave a listen to the old one. It's like, wow, they're good together.
Incredible.
They're fantastic together. No wonder he loves it so much.
I listened to them so many times.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds better doing that than when he does with that weird band he had.
Yeah, it's not good.
I didn't care for that.
No, I didn't either.
And number one, they arbitrarily put at the top of the list. Number one, Queen.
Oh my God, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I wish I could say I've seen Queen. I just that has got to be, you cannot miss live vocals of Freddie Mercury live. I mean, I saw Queen with Adam Lambert, and they, 2-3 years ago, and they were crazy amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't even imagine what they were like with Freddie Mercury.
I mean, anywhere you have Brian May and the people he will have around him is going to be awesome. Because he's a beast. He's a goat, just like Mr. Page and some of the others. And Gilmore. But Brian May is just a force of nature. And
have you seen Queen live?
Yes, I was going to mention that I did, in fact, see Queen live. On the jazz tour. So we're talking 6 albums there. Wait, 5, 6, 7. I always fuck that up. The jazz tour, yeah.
Just leave it
So before the game, no, it wasn't the game. We don't have that. We have jazz, and that's it. And but they did a lot of that record. Now the tour was captured on the album Live Killers, but that wasn't all of it. But it was still. So that I did see Queen. So I think that added up to 10 bands out of that list that I saw, and you saw
like 3
because they were not that you haven't been to a ton of concerts. You have. It's just that they weren't these lame ass bands.
Right. So I definitely. I have some that I would definitely, I think, add. The Police was amazing live, and of course I saw them when I was really young, but I think that talk about energy, talk about amazing just talent, raw, crazy talent.
Love to have seen the Police.
So that's a problem, I think. Definitely should be on there. I actually really, I love A Perfect Circle, Tool, and Pussifer, those 3 bands, which obviously all feature Maynard. Ridiculous live shows, like unforgettable live shows, not just musicianship obviously, but what they have going on visually is just incredible. And then also Steven Wilson of Porcupine Tree, who just got back together. Steven Wilson's an amazing live artist with amazing stories. Everything that he's doing is a story, and the light show, the videos, the everything is just so great. And then Muse is another one because of their energy, I guess their light shows. Now I haven't seen them in the last like 8 or 9 years, but I've seen them like 4 or 5 times prior when they were really little and no one knew them, and then once they got really big, just amazing. I mean, musicianship, not only that, but I mean, of course, you've got whatever they're doing visually, you've got just that, the vocals, you can't believe that's coming out of this little teeny man. Mm-hmm. So those are some that I'd like to add, and I'm sure I have a bazillion more. Obviously Peter Gabriel, he's an amazing live artist. So he's one of those people. How
did he not end up in the top 29?
I can't imagine.
Nor Genesis.
That's ridiculous. So, yeah, I think there's some stuff that's missed. Those are some of the ones that just came to mind.
Well, yeah, and I think progressive rock, it sounds really arty and all this stuff, but honestly, the bands who have been given that name, they're, for the most part, they put on a really hard-hitting and intense show. Like, Yes is freaking amazing live.
Okay, so Yes, that's one I failed to mention, but I did think it would probably come up.
I knew you'd say, oh, yeah.
Yes is, I mean, live, just, again, it's that whole Masters at Work thing. When we saw them so many times, it was the original lineup, and you just can't believe that they can replicate the tightness and the perfection on stage, and yet at the same time it feels improvisational, even though it isn't. It's just this beautiful just dance, and there's nothing like it. That's why I've seen them like 7 or 8 times. I can't remember.
Wow. Well, I only saw them once on the Tormato tour. And in the round at Madison Square Garden.
It's just called Tormato, people. Tormato. It's not called both.
Yeah, to me, it's Tormato. It's always been
Tormato. Yeah.
But I saw them on that tour, and they were just what you said about Masters at Work. How can they possibly play these parts and sing these bazillions of lyrics
and in harmonies,
like Steve Howe and Chris Squire and John Anderson doing it together? How can they do that? And, I mean, that was the lineup I saw with Alan White and Rick Wakeman that year.
The original, yeah.
So that was absolutely amazing and super. But yet, Steve Howe is like a professor, but Chris Squire is just like this rock and roll beast. I mean, he
really was.
Rocks out, but he's a master musician. He's a virtuoso, but he has all kinds of, wildness in him. He's like a punk rocker almost, and yet he's playing this highest level imaginable art.
Yeah, Wakeman, Howe, and Squire, those 3, it was ridiculous to watch them. Ridiculous to watch them do that stuff live so many times. You just can't believe it. I mean, it sounds exactly like the album, and that's not easy when you're doing prog rock, because there's so much. Another one that most people probably wouldn't see around the prog rock, if we're going to talk about that, is obviously King Crimson. I mean, and King Crimson is now not going to do any more shows, which sucks, because the last time we were like, oh, we don't need to see them. We've already seen them do the same thing a million times. We're like, oh, shit, now they're retiring.
Didn't they just play, though?
That's it.
Yeah, that was it. Okay.
Yeah, so, but we've seen them, I think I've seen them 6 times, something like that. And holy shit, I cannot, they are complexity to another level. Mm-hmm. And to watch them do that with such perfection. And they have like 2 drummers and everything. Like, it's just, that shit could go off at any minute. Right. So it's just amazing. So I feel sad that the prog rock community is not as well represented in this list, because I feel like maybe people are like, it's too artsy. That's the reason it's so good live, because it is artsy. It is dangerous.
Yeah, it's artsy, and it absolutely rocks. I mean, there's no shortage of impact from groups like them, and from one that I'm surprised didn't end up in there, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I mean, a very powerful group live. Keith Emerson is, of course, he's the showman. He's the center of the whole thing and everything. But we have the phenomenal musicianship of Palmer and Lake and the vocals, and the journeys they take you on with these. And they take sometimes these elaborate, lengthy pieces and distill them and abridge them and give you stuff like Pictures at an Exhibition and Pirates and all of that in the same night. And Tarkus and things like that. Absolutely. I mean, I did see them 1992 and the Black Moon Tour, and it was not something I ever would have wanted to miss. But there are other artists who are not like rock as we think of it, who take stage work seriously, who take a stage presentation seriously, like Madonna. And I happen to think Madonna's music is good. Just the prog thing, I'm not really thinking of anybody else. They covered a lot of them. They did get Queen, and they did get Zeppelin and all those. So,
yeah, I mean, it was a pretty interesting list. I definitely don't agree with all of it, but it was fun.
Yeah, a lot of it I thought was, sure, I'd have gone to see them, but it isn't one of those, oh no, I missed that things.
Yeah. There wasn't very many of those for me. I was like,
no.
I'll just listen to the CD, and it's not because I don't want to go because, there's no spectacle. They're not breathing fire. They're not throwing shit at the audience. That's not what I need. I think I just need to feel like it's offering me something more, and not just being in their presence, because I'm not a be in their presence person. But it's got to offer me something more than I can get sitting at home or being in the car listening to a CD. And if they can do that and they can enhance the experience live, I'm in.
Yeah, and the majority of the groups that they had on the list that met that criteria, I think I saw them, and some of the ones I saw I didn't think belonged on there, but I was glad I saw them anyway.
Right, of course.
So yeah, but they hit on some good ones, and I think we filled in the blanks, and we'll probably be talking for days about the ones that probably should have been listed.
Absolutely.
But that's the nature of radio, and it's also the nature of radio to come to the end of a show and have to say some kind of canned, prepackaged phrase.
Like, let's fly this coop?
This has been Birds of a Feather on What the Flock Radio.